Hi, it's Nicole McCork with this week's From Start to Finish video brought to you by twopeasinAbucket.com. This week's one-page layout features three 3.5 by 5 photos and lots of stamping details. This week's product lineup here, I'm going to be using some older photos. They were taken with a film camera quite a few years ago, and I had originally scrapbooked these 3 photos at their 4x6 size on a 2-page layout that said absolutely nothing about what had really happened on this day. And so I'm going to redo this layout. I don't always do that, but I have found that I have gone back and scrapbooked some pages or redone some pages and given more information about the event, and I find that I really like looking through those through the albums and through those pages more than just looking at a page that had a few pictures on a pretty page with some nice embellishments, and that's it. Luckily I put the date on there and stuff, and you can see that the date was on these photos. They were taken with, like I said, a film camera. Because these were scrapbooked before, I had put like some eyelets through the top of one of them, and so instead of going and reprinting the photos, which I really didn't need to do, I just cropped them down to 5 by 3.5, which will allow me to line them up on my page here in a little bit when I put it together. Anyway, so those are my photos and a little bit of my thinking behind what I'll be doing here. And what I'm going to be using today are a whole bunch of papers from this My Mind's Eye Stella Rose collection. I like to mix and match a lot, but today I'm going to pretty much stick with this collection, I think. So this is just a scrap from one of the papers. It's a nice red with kind of a cream polka dot on it, nice distressed look. I probably incorporate a little bit of that into there. As this is part of the card making and stamping event, I guess this is more of the stamping, not really card making, I am going to use this ledger paper from the Stella Rose collection to stamp my title and maybe even some additional embellishments, print my journaling, things like that. Have this really nice stripe that coordinates nicely to add lots of color to the page if I want. This orange kind of damask tone-on-tone paper. I always like to use quite a few tone-on-tone papers just so that the page isn't too terribly busy. Then I have this really pretty aqua floral tone-on-tone design again. I did grab a piece of cream cardstock. I think this is from Stampin' Up. It's older from my collection, but I thought this looked nicer than stark white, which I use a lot of white, but I put it next to this and I didn't think it looked very good, so I went with the cream. And then I'm going to use this really pretty floral that has lots of all these colors in it. I like the design, so we're going to be using this. And you can see that I chose all these papers because I thought they coordinated nice with the photos of my daughter in her little denim dress, and also it picks up some of the orange from the lawn chair and all of that. So those are my papers I'm going to use. I grabbed a couple of punch outs from Jelly Bean Soup. One is got an orange border and one a brown, and I thought it might be kind of nice to layer these and either print my journaling on here or maybe even stamp something. These are some of the buttons that coordinate with the Stella Rose collection. They kind of have a nice antique look to them. For my stamps, I've tried to use these several times, and you may have seen them before in videos, but I'm going to use these for my stamped accents today. And I'm going to just stamp these with some ink and probably punch them out with some circle punches, maybe even layer these buttons in the center of a couple of them. So I'm going to use those. For my title, I am going to use this Kids Are Cool stamp set from Ali Edwards, and I'm going to do the Celebrate Being a Girl. You can kind of mix and match all of these different things, all these different words to make your own phrases and things. So I'm going to be using this for my title today. And then I thought I might even incorporate one of these stamps, I guess, from the Ordinary Days stamp set by Ali Edwards for Technique Tuesday. This is the 6x6 paper pad that coordinates with the Stella Rose collection. And if that ledger paper that I showed a second ago is a little too big for my design, this is just a smaller version of that, so I was thinking I could even use that. Or maybe even incorporate some of these solids if I need to punch out circle accents. Then I did pick out some October afternoon journaling or label stickers. I'm not sure how many or if I'll use any of them at all, but maybe something to stamp my date on or add just a little snippet of information. There's also some cute little, phrases like happy days or things like that that might be fun, good times, just to add as embellishment. These are from the new Five and Dime collection from October afternoon. I also took the thrift shop stickers because they kind of have that same antique look that I think coordinates nicely with the My Mind's Eye papers. So I did grab these in case, maybe mix and match those. And I also grabbed a couple of the label sticker sheets from My Mind's Eye. I might incorporate one of those if I decide not to use the October afternoon ones. And then I thought this is a much older rub-on sheet from Lily Bee, and I thought that this A Happy Moment Recorded would coordinate nicely with the design. I'm going to try to put that somewhere on my page, maybe as an intro to my journaling or something like that. So these are the products that I've chosen for this week's layout. Let's get started putting the page together. The first thing I'm going to do is trim down my cream cardstock to a 10.5-inch square. And then I'm going to cut that floral paper just slightly smaller, I think about 10.25-inch square. And I'm going to mat that onto the cream cardstock. And I'm just speeding through a lot of this part of it because there's not a lot going on. I'm just kind of laying things out and seeing how it looks. So that's kind of the general idea for the page. The next thing I'm going to do is take this orange paper and punch a couple of borders with it. And I'm using the doily lace punch from Martha Stewart. This is one that I use quite a bit. I really like it. It gives a nice feminine look, and it's just one of those that I turn to a lot if I'm looking for something kind of delicate and lacy. I'm going to punch a couple of those borders and place one at the above my photo border and one below. Then I'm just cutting a couple of thin strips from the stripe paper, and I'm going to layer those on either side of the photo border as well. So there you can see kind of what I had in mind. Next, I'm ready to stamp my title, and I am going to use this smaller ledger paper from the 6x6 paper pad by My Mind's Eye. And I've already placed my stamp here on my acrylic block, and I'm going to take the big brush markers here and color in my stamp so that I can color each of the individual words a certain color. I really think that this makes for a more dynamic title, and I really love the way it looks. So I've colored those in. I'm going to just kind of huff on it a little bit to re-moisten the ink. And I'm working fairly quickly. I'm going to find where I want to stamp that and then press that on there really good. So there's the first part of my title. Then I have the word girl on another block, and I colored it in with another big brush marker, and I'm going to stamp that right below to kind of finish off my title. And then I did go ahead and add the word everyday. I didn't do it right here from the other stamp set that I showed at the beginning of the video. And I just used Close to My Heart ink pad for that word. That way each word has its own color of ink. I just think it really makes the title more dynamic and makes it stand out more. Now I'm simply just trimming down this piece of paper so that I have a little tag, I guess, if you will, for my page. So there's what it looks like. And then I'm just going to lay that on my page to make sure that I like the way that's looking. And I'm going to have that kind of near the top there. Again, I have not adhered anything to my page yet. I want to make sure I like all the stamped embellishments and everything that I have first, and then I will adhere everything here in a little bit. So I'm using the color Tulip ink from Close to My Heart, and I'm going to ink up this really big lace doily here from the My Mind's Eye stamp set and stamp that on some of that remaining ledger paper. Then I'm using a 2 3/4 inch circle punch to punch that out. And that's about perfect for this stamp. So there is one of my accents. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab another one of these stamps, and I'm going to ink it up with another Close to My Heart ink, the juniper colored ink, and it matches the blue, kind of blue-green or aqua, I guess I would say, from the My Mind's Eye collection really nicely. So stamp that on that little scrap of paper there. And then I adhered it to just some printer paper so that I could get a nice clean punched shape from it, since I was using just a tiny scrap of that ledger paper there. And then last I'm going to take one of the other smaller designs, and I'm going to ink it up with the Chicken Feed color Jenny Bolin ink. It's a nice orange, which I'm using that orange paper and stuff for my design, so I wanted to make sure incorporate quite a bit of color in my stamped accents, and I'm going to punch that one out as well. So I'll move all of that over to the side, and I'm gonna lay those out on my page to make sure I like how they look. So just kind of move those around a little bit. Now I'm going to speed through this fairly quickly since I'm just grabbing those buttons and seeing if I like those. I'm going to grab a label sticker from this My Mind's Eye label sticker sheet, and I'm going to put that right there. And then I'm going to punch a little bit bigger circles depending on which stamped embellishment I have there, just so that they're a little bit bigger than the one that I stamped, and mat those on that. Just kind of helps them pop up a little bit. I tried to use similar colors for each of those. Now I've printed my journaling on this larger sheet of ledger paper, and I'm just going to cut out the rub-on phrase that I wanted to use. And I'm just going to apply that right above where I have my computer printed journaling. And this page doesn't have a ton of journaling, just kind of a what we were doing and when it was kind of thing. So I'm just going to rub that on really good. Make sure I get all of that adhered to my page, and then I'll just carefully lift that up, smooth it down, and that just adds a fun additional embellishment kind of to the journaling and to your entire page. I thought I might put enjoying childhood, but that kind of didn't work. So I grabbed the word today from the other stamp set here. It's kind of sticky, I haven't used it before. And I like that a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and ink that up with the Juniper Close to My Heart ink and stamp that right there into my journaling. I love the look of stamped words in computer generated journaling or even handwritten journaling. I think it really adds a fun touch. Then there's this little tiny circle or kind of like a period for the end of your sentence, and I'm just going to do like a little dot 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 thing, and I'm using the Tulip Close to My Heart ink for this. And there is my journaling all finished, and I just cut that down a little bit, and I'll place that near the bottom of my page, I think. And I did decide to trim just an additional little bit off of there. It cuts off part of the Y, but I don't think it really takes away from the design at all. I think it's much more even. And then I'm just folding over the right side because the back side of that paper has a really pretty red kind of doily design, and I thought that would look nice. I'm going to do the same thing for the title that I stamped It has the nice red design on the back of it as well, and it offers a pop of color and just kind of a fun look to have it folded over like that. Now I have all of my elements pretty much in place, so I'm gonna go ahead and start assembling my page. And I'm just going to layer everything on there. I did leave that striped paper, those little thin strips, a tiny bit longer, and I cut them at diagonals on each end and secured it with the tiny attacher. I thought it just added a fun touch to the page. Adding my journaling and using my tiny attacher again to attach that where it's folded over. And I'm going to adhere my stamped doilies to the punched out circles that coordinate and adhere those to the page as well. I'm going to secure up at the top, and then I decided after I did that I wanted to add a little bit of twine, so I just pulled out my staple with my scissors, and I'm wrapping that twine around that little flap, and then I'm going to secure it with the tiny attacher, then just tying that into a little bow at the top. So there's what that looks like all finished. Next, I'm going to go ahead and sew these buttons in place using some of the twine. And a little bit smaller button for that smaller stamped doily. Then I adhered that with some foam adhesive. A few label stickers, one stamped with the date and the other a little tab. I secured it with the tiny attacher. And then some little phrase stickers kind of layered there with the buttons, and the page is finished. For more information on this layout, plus the supplies used to complete it, please visit twopiesinAbucket.com on April 27th, 2011. Thanks for watching.